We're on top.
Song. Welcome to the show. My name is Kathomi, and of course I am your host on this here show, the baddest duos in East and Central Africa and the rest of the region. You can add me if you want to, because I am ready to fight. I am ready to fight. And today, that's the kind of energy that we're going into the day with. It is just the energy of like fighting, not for just for ourselves, but for the rights of so many other people, and fighting for our voices as well. And yes, that is an inkling to what is about to happen on this show, because we are doing it very, very different. One of yours, your favorites, is probably going to be featuring on the show in a little bit, but let me not jump ahead of myself. Nimenda Balisana. 0770-729-366 is the number to hit us up on. And as I said, my name is Kathomi.
And my name is Turife. Happy to be here. Golden Retriever energy, especially because it is Friday, Furahi Day. I don't know where you guys are going after work because there's mad traffic. Kidogo nichelewe job. I was on the verge of actually getting on a motorbike just to make it here on time, because I could not miss any single minute with our guest host today. Are you guys guessing who she is? We on purpose did not give you guys clues so that you can guess. So before we reveal her, the number is 0770729366. When you at a text in this 30-second window to tell us who it is, we're going to send you something. Maybe not money, but something is going to come your way. But welcome to the show.
I think without further ado, it's about that time. She is not just a voice of the people. She is a voice for herself. She has used herself as a vessel to speak about the plaguing issues in our society, in our community. And she is very good at it. You know, when people are just good at what they do, yes, she is very, very good at it. And today we are speaking about something that's very particular. But again, I think without further ado, let's introduce our guest host today. She goes by the name of Lydiah Wanjiru, and I'm just going to call her Shiro because I feel like we're just there already. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. What do you want me to cry? What an introduction. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm happy to be here. Maybe for those who don't know me, my name is Lydiah Wanjiru. I'm a digital content creator, a YouTuber, and a businesswoman. Wow, clap for me. Anyway, I'm glad to be here.
And I feel like, yes, you can introduce yourself, but your work should be able to speak for you. So we have a few little snippets so y'all can understand what we are about to get into.
Some background information.
Yes, so this is Lydiah Wanjiru at her bravest.
Oh, Lydia, my girlfriend. Wewe umekutana na hao wa Nairobi, wazazi wa Nairobi mpaka wanawatafutia watoto wao. Huyo akai kukusaidia kutengeneza boma. Huo kwao kunakaa kuwa maskini sana. My friend, kiherehere, mutarudisha kwenyu. Introduction does not mean officially wife. Kama hujawahi waambia mamangu alikukataa, you have a long way to go. Lakini sijui wa Kenya walitoa wapi hii tabia ya kusema that they need to hear the other side of the story when someone comes out and calls an abuser out. You know, it invalidates someone's feeling, it invalidates someone's, need to at least come out and say, oh, this has been happening to me. It invalidates your choice to even want to move on or even to solve the issues that are going on in your life. Because what do we need to hear from the other side of the abuser? What? And now another issue with being abused, it starts getting to you mentally. You start questioning, maybe it's something I said, maybe it's something I did. And hata inaweza kuwa kitu ilifanyika kitambo, but the moment you start to move on, abusers know how to apologize. The moment you start moving on, they know how to come back into your life. And the moment you break that boundary, they are bound to abuse you again. An abuser is an abuser. So if you decide to close that door, close it completely. And also let's learn to listen to the abused. Because if someone has gathered all the courage they have in them to come and speak about it, that means they are ready for change. That means they have had enough. Why are we invalidating their feelings? Why are they questioning? Maybe something you say to him is something you did to him. Why? And then this thing of the abuser trying to decorate violence with words. Oh, we had an altercation. We had sijunini. Apana. It's time, despite who you are, wherever you are, it's time for people to get accountable. And let me tell you something, ladies. If you're in such a situation and you have decided to call someone out, please make sure you go to the police station and report the case. Make sure this is something now you want to deal with it for the last time and to solve.
Now, I know every single time you see yourself, and you've said this on your socials before, that usually when you have a thought in your brain, you just plop your camera and then you just like twende kazi. But how does it feel to actually look back at yourself and your platform and see yourself talking? How does that feel for you?
The guts.
The audacity.
The gall.
Like I I'm like, just stop.
Nobody likes seeing themselves on replay.
You know, one thing about me, I don't prep for my talks, even for an interview, even my own interview that I host on my own YouTube channels. I don't prep. That is one thing. And then I have never, like before, tried to speak in public. So everything I'm doing right now, it's one time. Like it's the first time in anything.
It's raw, organic.
The interviews, the hosting, everything. But I've come to terms with something. I like talking. I like speaking my thoughts, and maybe my English is not proper.
Nice.
My Kiswahili is. I have a heavy tongue. I stammer at times, but I'll never stop talking. Tutaongea.
And you have a very big platform, and it's very impactful because people are very vulnerable with you. Anytime you put out a question out there, somebody will come and give you their deepest and most vulnerable story. So, you know, being that, you know, you started all of this so that people could have an outlet or a platform to share their stories. You've talked about your background, how, you know, being raised as an orphan, nobody really heard your story. So now here you are giving people a platform. But sometimes, do you ever feel like all their vulnerable stories, all their darkest times, does it feel like emotional dumping to you because you have to consume all of their darkness and all of their trauma? Does it ever get to you and you're feeling, that was very heavy, I might need to take a break or something? Does it affect you in any way?
Yes, it does. It does. Oh, in a way that maybe I will never be able to go back. But one thing about me, I'm emotionally in touch with my emotions. So if I need to cry, after hearing your story, if I need to cry, I'll cry. And then I have equipped myself in a way that I pray for God's grace and peace. And also I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of speakers. So I know how to make sure that everything that I do, every story I listen to, it doesn't get to me because I cannot be an emotional dumpster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just do whatever I have to do and then move on from it.
And as you said, sometimes you need to find new coping tools and mechanisms.
Yes.
And I know from what I'd seen so far, you'd mentioned that you haven't gone into therapy yourself, but even therapists have therapists. So it's just a question of, do you, when it's new, when you're just working on the stuff, because some of the stories I hear, I'm just like, hey, some of them are just so funny. You're like, somebody did that.
It's a mixture of crying and laughing.
It's just very raw and authentic. So I'm very curious about therapy. You've mentioned in some of your stories on social media, but if you don't follow her on social media, she is at Lydiah Wanjiru, and she has a podcast as well called Get Naked with Lydia. So please check her out. She's very funny and also very interesting stories as well. But like, do you feel at some point you will need another avenue to vent? Yes, it feels like none of it is affecting you in that moment, or you have your own tools and mechanisms of like dealing with the trauma that you're not, because you're being re-traumatized, as in umeshawambia trauma yao alafu wanakuongezea ingine. Do you think you will ever get to a point where you find a therapist, and would you recommend a therapist?
Yes, that is something I said I'm going to make sure I get into in 2024. Where I need a therapist at least once a week, because I think also there are some things in my life I haven't dealt with from my past. That is my childhood. There is a lot of forgiving I need to do. There's a lot of letting go I need to do. And the more I listen to the stories that I host on my YouTube channel or even on my social media platforms, I kind of relive some moments. And I guess that's why sometimes I break down. So yes, therapy is something I'm really thinking about. It's something I must do for the sake of even to continue the talks and to continue with
To be
with my
that person
platform.
for other people.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes.
I think piling onto the same conversation, because you have mentioned, you like, if you do listen to her story, it's a tough story, like from being orphaned and being raised by people who could do a lot more but did they did bare minimum, and then from there getting into a situation where you're now with a boyfriend who's abusive to an extent, and then now running away from that boyfriend, running away from home, the home at least, the struggles with, like, the story you said about your menses and how you got your menses and you couldn't tell your caregiver at that point that, hey, Shosho, I just got my period at 11 years old and I need these facilities. And the fact that you now had to go through the crudest ways of using, and these are stories that these are real life stories, and yours is just as true, where now you're going to the point of using, like, bathing towels and handkerchiefs, and just like the trauma of that as a young child. I really am curious about the fact that, yes, you've had your own very traumatic situations, and according to you, you've coped with them in the way that you've been able to. But your vocal story about orphans, right now there's a kid somewhere who is probably looking at this and going like, hey, I can relate to some of this. What is your message to anyone who doesn't have a parent or a guardian, or the people who are supposed to be taking care of them aren't doing the job correctly? What is that message to that child?
Your dreams are valid. That's like, I don't know why I've gotten emotional, because I don't know. You know what? When you are in it, when you are actively in it, when someone is mistreating you, when someone is abusing you emotionally, sexually, physically, there is no an ounce of light at the end of the tunnel. You're the most useless person. You have no one. You have nothing. There is no front. There is no back. Going back, and it's underestimated at what extent one can easily lose their life by committing suicide. Because I've attempted suicide 4 times when I was a child.
Oh, no.
Right now, I would rather be a chocolate, and I will never attempt suicide. So, and even when you listen to most of these stories, that's what you hear. Giving up. But you have to realize that God is a God of us all, and he knows how to balance life out. And today you will wake up, you have nothing, you have no one. But as long as you don't give up, as long as you stay determined, as long as you keep going, you keep taking the step front, things will look up. Things will look up in one way or another, not even as big as other people, but things will look up, even in the smallest ways, like having peace, and even finding a way that you can just be alone and be your own person. That is things looking up. For an orphan, just being alone and having ugali and skuma and your small house and sleeping on a mattress, that's enough. So
peace.
Just have to continue, keep taking one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other. Don't give up. Yeah.
And first of all, thank you so much for sharing your story and letting others just know that they're not alone. It takes a lot to be vulnerable with people. And now, Lydia, there's this issue that has been plaguing us, especially as a country, which is the rise of femicide. We have seen it. What is your say about this, especially because we have come up with people coming to apologize for these actions, and other people trying to justify these actions? What would you say is the root cause, and what can we do differently?
I have like 3 probabilities of the root cause of the femicide issue. One could be background issues. Men have been taught for the longest time that women work for them. A woman's presence is to make a man's life
Comfortable.
more
better.
convenient.
Yeah. Now we've gotten to an era where women are taking up spaces. Women are going to careers. Women are going into owning assets. It never used to be there a long time ago. Women never used to inherit, even leave alone purchasing, inherit assets. So women are inheriting assets, purchasing assets, taking up leadership roles even in government, building homes, and even women are coming to a point of, you know what, it's not a must I get married, it's not a must I get children. And I think men are mad, hierarchy, because they think someone is taking them out from their seats or from their position in the society. So I think they are mad. Like, who are you to say no? Why don't you want to get married? Why don't you want to have children and stay at home and cook and clean and go to the shamba and, you know, slave away your life? Another thing is the way men have been raised. Some have been raised not to respect women. When a woman does anything, they have a say, oh, she should not dress like this, she should not talk like this, she should not be in this room, she should not, you know. And now they are having a hard time coping. The third one is spiritual. I think there is just a bad spirit going on from movies, I don't know, from social media. It's because I think, and that's why we say if an action is not taken from those that have been caught, like John Matara, if an action doesn't happen on them, then it affirms the one who is thinking to do it, to do it. Kitu ijamfanyikia, so you know what, I can do it and get away with it. Yeah.
I feel like, as you said, you have been in an experienced position, which is horrible, and you've experienced almost all of the things that we're talking about right now. Sexual assault, which is difficult on its own, especially when it's from someone who you're supposed to trust, you know. And then instead of people taking up your defense, they're thinking about, how do we hide this best? Like, how do we silence this story? How do we kill this off? Our son cannot have been seen to have attempted to do this. The fact that the energy and the strength, like when you tell that story about your auntie Ashley walking in and finding your uncle attempting,
Her husband,
yes, attempting to assault you sexually
on the act.
And instead of screaming, she faints in disbelief that it is my husband who is doing this. Because that's unfortunately how I interpreted that situation.
Yes, right.
Like, she's just like, how can my husband... The first thought is not, what are you doing to this child? It is, how are you embarrassing me to this extent? The fact that the committee that was held after was not even, how is she doing? This girl is in pain. She just went through this very traumatizing situation. And instead of us holding her hand, taking her to hospital, she could have diseases, like all of these things. No one is thinking about it from that particular extent. And we've seen this in many homes. People just like want to, usiseme, usiende kwa ule anko. You know, that's what you're told. Hapana, usiingie na huyo, usiende pale. Ikifika masaa ingine kujeni mkae hapa pamoja. What is the messaging that you have for people who are now covering these kinds of acts and covering not the victims, but covering the assailants, the people who have perpetrated these things upon them?
You know, in my case, it was about covering the family name, because the family that raised me is a very rich and popular family.
Are you willing to say the name? Because
No.
I know you said no.
No.
Okay.
No. I love my grandmother. She still has
A
a place in my
your
heart.
yeah.
Okay.
And most of the things that I faced from my childhood were not from her. She's the one who took me in, but her children, the aunts and the uncles, are the ones who made it hell for me. So for them, it was more of covering a family name. Imagine mentioning Moi's family. Let's an example. So people be like, everybody will know it, yeah? And for them, it was like, how can we make sure that this story does not get out of here, especially now they were more concerned about the wife, not speaking about it, not telling it to her family, and not even wanting maybe a divorce from their son. And this is how people end up dying in families. Because maybe imagine at that time I understood what had happened to me and I couldn't take it, and maybe I felt filthy, nini, I end up committing suicide. What would be the reason that I committed suicide? you think it will be rape? It wouldn't. And that's why I say we are coming to an era that we are supposed to call your husband out, call your brother out, call your father out, because people who are, even with the femicide cases, the people who are killing these women, they are people they have known for the longest time in their life. They're not strangers.
They're functioning adults.
Yeah, and the statistics came and we realized that 20% of the killings are done by strangers, but 80% of the killings are done by husbands, boyfriends, fathers, brothers, neighbors. So it is the society that has come to a rot. And even I hosted another story on my YouTube channel, the last video, where a girl was molested by her cousins. She also got orphaned, and then the first thing is like, you're seducing my sons, you're seducing my husband, the aunts.
Of course.
No, you being sexually assaulted is not an issue.
It's not. They were prey to you. You were the seducer. You're the problem, not them. Why were you? What were you wearing? It goes back to the same stories of what were you wearing? Why were you there at that time? What was the reason why you decided to? You know, so the victim blaming is quite an issue, as you've mentioned.
And it is so bad to a point that you think, in that committee that was held to, you know, cover up the issue, there are my aunts who have daughters. You're not thinking this might this happened to a niece, maybe someone we are helping in their family, but this is our brother who did such an act. Is my daughter safe? Am I safe? As much as we are covering it for him, are we safe? And that's why I really, really want people to start speaking out. Doesn't matter, it's your brother, it's your husband, it's your father, it's your uncle. Speak up, please, because these are the same people who are coming into the society and they start killing, raping, assaulting women, and, you know, diminishing a woman's value. They're the same people who are coming and behaving the same in the society because they're used to what? Being covered up.
Exactly. And last weekend, speaking about, you know, rapist apologies or abusers who enable such behavior, last weekend we had nationwide protests about femicide and just making it aware. It's actually an issue, and we're bringing it, you know, you guys, we need to do something. And there was nationwide protests, and then we had people using their social media platforms. However, there are few influencers or very influential people who stood out as not supporting the cause. They were not very loud about it. They did not use their very huge platforms to, you know, highlight and showcase what was going on. We even had as far as politicians who did not ever once talk about this issue, but some even showed up to the, you know, to the protest to kind of, you know, it's good PR or something. So now to these people who are always, they have the ability to make change. They have ability to talk about these stories, but they never do. What are we supposed to do with this kind of people? Because we see them every day. They are our influencers, they're our women representatives, they're our politicians. We put them to the office to solve these issues. But when time comes, when push comes to shove, they're quiet. Nothing is happening.
It's so unfortunate. Oh, it's so unfortunate that someone can have a whole platform and a following of women and you choose not to say anything about it. And when I came to Instagram, my content creation started on TikTok. That's why even where I have more following, I have, I think, 230-something thousand followers. When I came to Instagram, I was a bit skeptical about it because I thought Instagram is for baddies. It's for aesthetics.
It is.
When you go to my Instagram, everything is everywhere. Everything is everywhere. So I think some content creators, let me call them that, or some influencers, they don't want to mess up with their algorithm, aesthetics. You know, I'm used to talking about makeup. How am I going to talk about blood and killings? Like, nah, that's not my thing. But I want to urge followers. Follow whoever is feeding into you. If you're into makeup and you also don't care about femicide, it's fine. It's fine. But also, learn to listen to people. lately I've been advocating for learning to listen to people without arguing. The men who are killing, the men who are saying, giving their opinions on social media about the killings, learn to listen to people and choose whether that is the kind of person you want to be listening to, you want to be following, and you want to be influenced by.
You have a choice, basically.
You have a choice, yes, because you want also someone to be on your team. You know, you're not doing, even us who are choosing to talk about it, like Kina Kate actress and, you know, the big influence Kina Murugimunyi and everyone, we are not doing it for PR. You're doing it because you know what she feels. Even when the whole thing, after the match, I was like, now we have gone for the match. Imagine a mother who has a daughter, raising a daughter, who is going to school, who is being left at home. How are they doing this thing? How? I don't have a child. So I don't care. I'm only in charge
of yourself
of my
and
own
your
security.
safety.
But imagine a parent who is raising a daughter. So if someone cannot be able to carry your own, the other people's needs as theirs, then there's just a problem, I guess.
And I feel like we are highlighting it now, but it's been a problem for a long time.
It has.
Let's not forget, we had the whole My Dress, My Choice movement. Remember that? Those were still men who were doing heinous things to women.
Stripping women in the streets.
You are just going into your matatu, and then people decide to do these horrible, vile things to you because
Under the guise of
according
morality.
to them, you're not dressed to code and you are asking for it. So if you're asking for it, we will give it to you. And we spoke about this and we had a whole movement and guys were like, yeah, my dress, my choice, my dress, my choice. But even now, if you walk in town, just walking in town,
I work in CBD.
The harassment.
Luthuli.
Luthuli.
You walk anywhere past
See how you're dressed?
anywhere past Moi Avenue going downwards. If you try and walk, you know those Buddha guys up or to Odeon. These are the Buddha guys up at this, what's this building which also had a scandal? The one, Imenti House. If you walk there dressed in a way that is not pleasing the men around that region, you will hear it. You will hear it. Weva nguo. Mbono unatembea hivyo kama, you know, like a
And
whore.
you'll be touched.
They will grab you. They will start shoving you around. It happens when we are pandaing a matatu. Umepanda tu unataka tu kuingia kwa matatu. Why is someone pushing you, grabbing you by your behind and pushing you in a matatu? And as people who then try to vocally stop this from happening, hey, don't touch me, please stop doing that, you will see no one saying anything. No one will ever say
one stands out
anything.
for you.
No one stands up for you. On that particular situation, you are on your own. But very quickly, when there are movements and banners, everyone is reposting. Everyone is very quick to go for these marches. But in real life, on the ground, the situation has not changed. The people have not evolved. The men have not learned. So what is your messaging for literally any person, and how do we defend ourselves? What is that actual call? Because we're talking about realities versus Instagram and social media. What can we do on the ground?
I keep saying this. Today is my day. We don't know when yours will come. When you walk by and see a fellow woman getting harassed, and you know maybe by you intervening, it will at least help her to share the shame with you. By you not trying to, you know, help calm down the situation, you actually
Enabling that
enabling,
behavior.
yeah, exactly. But for the longest time, I don't know why women just can't exist. Imagine, as women, we wake up, each time I'm preparing to go to work, there are clothes I can't wear. You have to be mindful of what you're dressing, because when I walk in town with this one, I'll be cut cold. Now, when we are closing down for the end of the business, we want to go home, you know, you're constantly looking at the clock. I know I'm still in Luthuli. When you're trying to walk down a street, you're always mindful, like, this street, maybe, is it safe enough?
Is it light, well lit?
But men exist without even having these thoughts.
Blasé.
They will walk anywhere, they will walk anytime, they will dress anyhowly. Like recently, an Uber driver was going somewhere, and the Uber driver was dressed in a very short. He's a guy, but the short was like here. on the beach, and I was like, wow.
Must be nice.
Nice. And it was daytime. So, but my thing is just intervene. When you see a woman even being harassed by the watchman, waiters, the boda guys, kama ni kuchapo chapweni nyinyi wote. Intervene. Because
be your sister's keeper.
Be your sister's keeper. And I think, you know, men, by now they know we are not together. Like, we don't, what is it?
We're not in a position of peace.
No,
like
we don't watch out for each other.
We're not each other's keepers, yeah. There we go. It's the mamambogas who are selling. Yeah, we're not
together in this. But when we show men, as women, we can come together and say no. And no means no. They will not do anything. They will not do anything. Eventually, they will be like, hapa ukiguza mwanamke, hapa wote wako hapa watakupiga. They will come at you. So when that situation, and that's why I said even with these femicide cases, like today I saw John Matara, that guy, he's in my here, he's just here. Like today he set for a bail hearing, and I'm like, they are due to continue collecting evidence and blah blah blah. Our Kenya system, our law system has really failed us.
It hasn't been 21 days.
Sorry?
It hasn't been 21 days. Why is he being set
for bail hearing?
Who knows? He could have patiana kitu somewhere. Like, you don't know.
That's how much our Kenyan system is failing us. And that's why we are taking up for this. And that's why the leaders are not saying anything.
Yeah, because they know they're part of the problem.
Because there was even someone DM'd me and said their neighbor was chased away with her 2 children by the husband. And she went to report to the police station. Oh, because the husband has been coming home drunk and beating her, and whatever she cooks, the man does not appreciate, yet he's not leaving enough money at home. So they asked her, and report to police. When they went there, the guy said the wife is denying him conjugal rights. So they were told, endeni muongee, mbona unanyima mzee wako? Si ni mzee wako?
And so you see,
rape is real.
It is real, and people are like, bwanako anaweza kurepa aje?
It is very real.
I think, and then with the dressing, like we see, we see through in Maju, like Western countries, not Western, sorry. In the US and UK, people walk literally naked with booty shorts and biker shorts and short dresses, and you'll never hear a case someone was touched. And even if he dares touch you, a man just down on the street dares touches you, it is chaotic.
It's assault.
There is a consequence.
But here in Kenya, men know they will get away with anything. Even when you're caught red-handed like John Matara, kutakuwa na bail, atafanyanga hearing 5 years down the line. So we had the lady who was chopped off by the boyfriend who came all the way from Thika to Eldoret for the birthday, Ivy. See, the case to the justice was served after 5 years. Imagine a family waiting for 5 years, and there's evidence. Like, what evidence? What
people
more evidence
saw him? Everyone saw him do it.
But all in all, women have to come together. Be your sister's keeper. If you see someone getting harassed, say something. Stand. Ask why. Try to try get her away from the situation. Yeah.
And because of all of this, maybe one could say it's internalized misogyny.
It is.
Where people now start talking about no, ladies should stay safe. Let them stay safe. Let them figure out a way to stay safe, to not avoid these situations. And people started talking about, don't tell a woman to stay safe. Teach your son to be a proper person. But that is just in theory. Yes, we could teach our sons, but it's still a theory in the working. But now, in the present day, how do women stay safe? I think that's been a question. When you think about how tasers are illegal in Kenya, pepper spray is illegal in Kenya, we can't carry arms because if you become an arm-carrying country, that's now crime going on. It's like it's a Pandora's box. So now, how do women stay safe in a nation that has refused to acknowledge that women are not safe?
I think men should come out and give women tips on how to stay safe. Because me, you, all of us, we know how to stay safe, don't we? We know when not to go around at night.
The fact that you've said you have to check yourself before you leave the house because you don't want to dress funny and get attention is also using cis.
So men, I think men should come out and give women tips on how to stay safe, because like the lady was killed in Kiambu. She was sent by I don't know, her mother or grandmother to the shop, and she was mugged on the road and killed, and her body parts chopped off, and she was just going to the shop. So what safe tip did she break to keep herself in the way of that danger? Men should just come out and tell us.
Yeah, like give us a
safety.
PDF document, maybe a PowerPoint presentation or something like that. However, there is something else that I think we need to highlight, and I would like to hear your opinion about. We all have men in our lives. You have a husband, you have brothers, you have a son, you have all of these things. And I think someone mentioned this, I don't know whether it was you, I heard saying this, that you will see something really funny. For example, was it in Angola where they're having the African Cup? Is that being played in Angola? Is it in Algeria? Where is the Cup of AFCON happening? Where is it happening? Ivory Coast. And we saw the guard who, the video was circulating on the internet of the guard who was frisking the women. And you saw how he was frisking the women. A male guard grabbing on women's, you know, breasts and their bodies.
What weapon are you hiding? You know.
Why is this man being the one to frisk the women? Are you trying to tell me there are no guards anywhere? Because this is not a Kenyan problem. That's what we're trying to make you people understand. It's not a Kenyan problem. It's a problem in the world. Now, this man frisked people. The video was circulating. Who was circulating these videos? With what intent? That's question number one. You're sitting down with your man. He shows you the video. What is your reaction? Is always my question. Are you cackling? Are you in shock? Are you also letting them share the same video? Because this is now propelling this thing even further into the world. Maybe somewhere iko imefika, mzee wako ndo alituma, brother wako ndo alitumia mwingine. So what are the women with men, the advice in general? It's the leaders. All of these politicians have wives, do they not? Even if they don't have wives, they have mothers, they have sisters. All of these people who are in power, in positions of power, and making the patriarchy work for them, they all have wives. So my opinion has always been, why as women are we allowing our men to create these horrible situations for others? And what can we do better? As people, we're the largest majority, are we not?
Women, we are.
Why is it possible that we still find in government, we are still getting to nominate people to fill positions of women in government? How is it possible that a population with so many women, we're all just chillaxing, waiting until we are, you know, given the favor of, you're a woman, you do politics, Ebu come, sit here, fill this seat. And even then, we don't fill those seats fully. What is the advice that you would give to women in their interactions with men? Every single day you interact with men. What is the advice you're giving to these women? You're saying be our sisters' keepers. But what are we doing to our men?
I think it's just calling them out. I don't know what we can do that it will be enough for men to just allow women to exist without feeling endangered. Because imagine if my partner is showing me such a video, I'm hoping he's also triggered. He's also in shock, like, why would a man do this? And why would someone stand there and record this and decide to share it? And what like, I believe there are more than 1,000 people there. It's a whole match.
A huge African event.
Isn't there anyone who saw nothing wrong about that?
No one. Like, people risking. Are just, and even the women, they're just queuing for the same thing to be done to them.
They keep coming, and they're laughing, they're smiling. And I think it has gone down to abuse, mental abuse. Even, you know, we say even in relationships, in friendships, at home, before someone can really abuse you can abuse you physically, they have mentally abused you.
They've been gearing up to it.
So you think it's right for someone to touch your boobs in the name of frisking? That is abuse. You think it's right?
It's normalized.
Because someone will be like, so you amekuguza amechange, like what has happened? Nasia umeenda. It gets brushed off like it's not a big deal.
True.
So I think it's just a matter of calling out our brothers, our husbands, our partners, our fathers out. Like, and then that's why I said again, let's normalize listening to the men in our lives, your colleagues, your boyfriend, your partner, your brothers. If someone, because these are the way we are enabling people and enabling these behaviors to roll down into the society. Because you as a sister, sister yangu anakuanga sawa, na mimi nikisema hivi ama nikiongea hivi,
anakuanga tu hivyo.
Mangu akuanga sawa. But if they know from home, because again I've said, my uncle raped me, and his sisters, they covered up the issue by protecting the family home. But even one of the, if one of them would have said no, whatever you have done to this girl is wrong.
Right.
No, I'm not here. I'm not going to participate in this covering up thing. We are going to the police station. We are going to the hospital. She needs to get checked. Imagine in a family of 8 daughters versus 2 sons. 8 daughters said nothing. So even if people, no one is on your team and everyone is against your opinion, say something. Let people know Turife is against this thing of men shouting in the house and ordering women around.
True.
And that somehow you will start winning people in the team. Be saying, it has worked for nobody tells Turife anything. Nobody can mess around with Turife's things and everything and how she dresses and blah blah. They will start coming. The team will start growing. So if you decide to say something, deciding to say something is also saying something.
True.
I love that.
Taking
I
a side is something.
Love that.
And not being quiet.
Yeah, or complacent.
And we have seen, like, over time, we feel like we've done everything. We have been in the streets protesting. I feel we have done everything that we can do to talk about this issue. But what more can we do to just put it out there that we are aware this is happening and would like for change? And how do we do this change that we need to be done?
At this point, we leave it in the hands of the government. What else can me and you do?
Exactly.
Yet we are just here common mwananchi. Do you have powers?
No.
Apart from sharing on your social media platforms, maybe educating the people close to you, your small sisters, your cousins. What else can you do?
Nothing really.
The only thing I think at this point we need to do is the government intervening, take this motion to the parliament. What are the laws and the laws and system that can be put in order to handle these situations? What can happen? What will happen if a perpetrator or such a person is caught? It's the
the people we elected.
Yes,
the people we elected to do something.
Let me tell you, and please quote me. Come 2027, 70% of our political leaders will come with this femicide agenda in their campaigns to ask for your votes into the offices. And what will me and you do?
We'll still vote for them.
Wajinga ni sisi. We will vote for them because they will end femicide. But right now, they are quiet. They have said we should have not marched in the streets, where we should have gone to universities and educated students about not wanting money, not wanting this life starting from top.
Yeah.
We should show women how to earn money. You see, the other day a woman was murdered in her own house.
Yes.
Was it yesterday or the day before?
It was the day before yesterday.
So is that in the university?
No.
Was that done by a stranger?
Nope.
Our leaders.
I think you are having very, very valid points here, and everyone should listen and listen keenly, because this is a conversation that just needs to become more. Just start at home. Start with your brothers. Start with your cousins. Start with your fathers. Start with the people closest to you. And trust me when I tell you, once your father or your brothers hear it enough, they will start to repeat the same messaging to their friends, and their friends the same. It has to start from home. And I love that. I see people on the messages are saying, enjoying the show. Thank you for hosting, Lydia. People saying, I love Lydia on TikTok. You guys you look so good.